Thank you for joining us, Dr. Kumar and Dr. Aarti. I am Nishta.
And I am Sahil.
Hi, Nishita.
And Sahib, hi.
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 The expert mentor session you had with us on global health were truly enriching.
We would like to introduce you to our wider audience and get to know the kind of work you are doing to promote global health. As you're an epidemiologist, could you tell us more about it?
Sure. Well, thank you very much. Before I begin, let me congratulate the school, the whole program, your mentors, teachers, and all of you for such an enriching experience. To even start to think about global health issues at this age, I think this is the best investment we can make to resolve and make the world a better place. I wear many hats, and one of them is as an epidemiologist. Many people, for the first time probably during the pandemic, they actually did know what, they came to know what an epidemiologist is. So in very simple terms, the whole idea is that we would like to—
We are detectives.
Yeah, it's like, just see us as detectives. See us as detectives. We want to understand the problem. So for instance, my area of work is newborn health. During the COVID pandemic, we're providing support to our government and the response. So the goal is to understand the disease itself. We would like to understand, what the nature of the disease is. Who does it impact? When does it impact?
How many are affected by
How many are affected? How long does the immunity last? Is there a likelihood that we will again have a reinfection or a surge? How long should the pandemic last? If I were to just
and are some people at more risk than others, and who are those people?
And use this information to then design what would be the best response. Should we mask or shouldn't we mask? Should everybody be vaccinated, or who should be vaccinated first? All of these are, once we know about the disease, then this helps us inform the intervention that we take. So this would be just one glimpse into what we do. And in order to solve this, we bring multiple disciplines. We bring a lot of mathematics, we bring a lot of the biology, clinical sciences, it could be even behavioral sciences. So a lot of these are brought into play to understand and solve the problem.
Okay, so what inspired you to choose this field?
So there are two parts of the story. One, maybe just the way I was, my upbringing. I was brought up in a laboratory, in a virology lab. I was raised by my eldest brother, who was a virologist. And I ended up spending a lot of time in his laboratory. And one of his core passions was to develop technologies in the lab and then take them to farmers so that they could use technology to increase their income, to expand their work. And that's what essentially it was. So I think maybe in some ways that definitely influenced as I was growing up. I decided to pursue medicine. I became a doctor, but I just didn't feel that I would be best, I would best contribute by just, treating patients who are already sick. And I thought that was a battle that was very difficult to win. And so I decided that maybe I would better contribute to society if I work towards preventing these diseases in the first place. And so that is primarily the reason. And so I took up newborn health because when I started, we had 10 million children were dying every year. And every fourth newborn who was dying in the world was from India. And being an Indian, I thought this is the most vulnerable group. And most of them, they actually 90% of those who die in the world die in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. And I just wanted to do my bit, bring the best of science to empower families so that they could actually save lives of their newborns, support the governments in saving lives of newborns, and change and influence global policy so that we recognize that this is a major challenge, and this is a silent tsunami, and we need to do something about it. And so, well, it was a big need, and I was just very happy responding. It has been a very meaningful journey so far. So yes, and we'll continue to do so.
You're a CEO and principal scientist at your Community Empowerment Lab. Could you tell us more about your company and what it does?
Oh, yes. So that's, or as the name suggests, so it's Community Empowerment Lab. And so let's just, for a moment, spend a few minutes on it. One, we have always believed that every human has limitless potential. Now, but in order
and we can all be better than who we are today.
And we can all be better than who we are today. Now, but in order to do that, the first and foremost that we need is that we need to come together as a community. If we can support each other, we can help each other, we can empathize with each other, we can lend our hands to each other. I think that
and build upon each other's strengths.
Yep, exactly, build upon each other's strength, then that would be a prerequisite for realizing our limitless potential. But that itself, just coming together, may not be enough. And so then the other part is the laboratory, is can we bring the best of science in order to be a multiplier. So
and even build a culture of innovation.
So the first is we believe that each one of us has unlimited potential, but in order to harness that, in order to realize that, we need to come together. But just coming together may not be enough. If it is powered by a culture of science and innovation, then I believe we can literally.
That is empowering.
Basically. That's empowering. So that we can solve it, and therefore the Community Empowerment Lab. It's a non-profit research organization. We founded this because most of the organizations that are solving global health problems, they are actually based in developed countries. So they are based in New York, they could be based in Washington, D.C., Geneva. And we felt that we need to be where the problem is. And so Uttar Pradesh is one of the hottest, I would say, one of the epicenters of global health challenges. And therefore, Aarti moved from Singapore, I moved from Baltimore in the US, from John Hopkins University, and just went to rural UP in Shivgarh. That's the village that I started to work. And because we felt that we need to be where the challenge is. And that's where we can work together to solve the grandest challenges in the world. And that's how it started.
And we want to be, so we want, you know, when you're close to the problem, you are actually, we believe we are also closer to the solution, because the solution, we see it lies, you know, in the same communities where those problems are. And plus, if we are able to link these communities to you know, multidisciplinary expertise across the world, you know, and we create that exchange of ideas, that's when we can really solve these kind of problems.
So we're not solving problem for them. We're not the expert trying to solve the problem for them, but we all have expertise. A mother has an expertise. You know, a mother in rural India has expertise. Everyone has. We just need to bring and come together as a community to solve it. And that's essentially what we're doing. As you know, I have stepped down as the CEO, and now Aarti has actually, on Women's Day, 2 years back, Aarti took over as the CEO, and I stepped down. But I continue to be provide scientific mentorship and leadership to the organization. But it also gives me time to you know, to work with you all. So and I'm hoping that I will begin some new initiatives this year.
Could you just suggest some of the ways students like us can get involved in promoting global health?
Absolutely. You know, you know, the first thing that I would say and reiterate actually is that each one of us, and that us includes you, me, Aarti, everyone, that we need to realize that the problem is not distinct from ourselves. We are inseparable with everyone else in the world and everything in this world and the universe. Now, once we, if that's the perspective we recognize, then we know that whatever action we take will impact everyone else, and what everyone else does impacts us. Which also means that if we do something good, it will make everyone better. And if we do something that's harmful, then it makes everyone worse off. Now, this would be the first premise that I would say each one of us need to imbibe and recognize. Now, once we have this, then the second, this would be ground zero. Based on this foundation, I would say the first key action point would be to help identify a problem that you think impacts the most vulnerable sections of our society. It could be the most vulnerable part of this world. It could be the environment. It could be malnutrition in children. It could be survival of newborns. It could be the pandemic. But to identify a problem that disproportionately impacts the weakest and the most vulnerable section of the society.
And a lot of the time,
the largest number of them.
And a lot of the time, those who are the most vulnerable, they don't have a voice. So they are not able to express their problems. So
yes.
We have to.
And I'll come to that in a moment. So once you have recognized that, and for that you have to dig into, you need to do research to be able to identify that. Once you've been able to identify, then the second step that I would say would be to do everything that you can to understand the problem. Now, why is it so? Where is it? How big the challenge is? How much do we know about it? Where are other parts in the world that people have tried to solve it? So that would be the second, would be understanding the problem. And then the third, of course, is once you have an understanding of the problem, then it's acting upon the problem. And the first, as Aarti was mentioning, the first action that each one of us can take is be the voice. Talk to people, talk to your family members, your brothers, your sisters, your friends, talk to the media, get people to talk about it. When they talk about it, people will start to recognize that this is indeed a problem. That is number one. Number two, then there are other actions that you can take. For example, one of your colleagues had a kit, right? So they had a medical kit, for instance. So based on the problem, you can see that there could be actions that you could take. Those actions could be in the form of an innovation. The action could be in terms of other interventions that you could take in the community, outside of it. These are all things that you could do. You could set up, for instance, you could set up a global health community in pathways. You could start researching on subjects. You could start writing on these subjects. You could start inventing new things to solve that problem. You can start a small enterprise to start solving the problem in a larger scale. These are all things that you can do. You can start.
And maybe you can begin with some challenges that you just see. You need to begin somewhere. So you just look at things that impact you, your friends, people around you, and you can start, put on your detective hat and start working on those problems, and gradually you can take bigger and bigger challenges. So so for example, one thing that I see amongst children, and I think it was brought out in one of our sessions, is there's these mental health issues that have arisen due to the pandemic, right? And then there are so many. There's some issues that are all around us. So global health issues are all around us. You just need to pick something, put on your detective hat, and keep working at that problem. And that's how you will learn to solve. From smaller problems, you can move on to bigger and bigger challenges.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again for your time. We hope our viewers were able to get a peek into the amazing work Dr. Kumar and Dr. Aarti are doing in this field of global health.
Thank you so much, Nishita and Sahil.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It was so well moderated. Thank you so much.